RESPECT. Find out what it means to me. What's up? Welcome back. Welcome back to the Quiet Impact Podcast. I never professed that I can sing, but one of the things that I declared in this new season is that I would no longer dilute to be digestible. And, I'm bringing it. So welcome back. This is where we nurture, inspire, equip, educate, and empower introverted leaders and business owners just like you who are making waves quietly and with impact. And today I'm going to talk about something that a lot of us know in our core. We know you don't have to be loud to be respected. Some of the most powerful people I've ever met didn't say much, but when they did, you listened. This episode is for the ones who lead with presence and not performance. I'm talking about how respect as a leader and a business owner is something that should be looked for, sought after, embodied. Because being respected, it's not about volume, it's about being able to have a presence that when you enter a room or when you speak, that people give honor to what you say and what you bring to the party. I want to walk through some habits that command respect quietly without shouting for attention. That's what we're walking through today. Lean in, get your pen, get your paper, hit share, like, subscribe, do all those things, because that's what we're talking about today. RESPECT, find out what it means to me. Welcome to the Quiet Impact Podcast, where we nurture the journey of introverts who desire to achieve greater levels of influence, income, and impact. The go-to podcast for introvert achievers just like you, seeking purpose-driven growth. I am your host, Stephanie Oden. Welcome to this episode of the Quiet Impact Podcast. We're not shy, timid, or needing to be fixed. We're an introvert, and that is our superpower. Introverted, AFF. Absolutely fabulous and feisty. I sang in the intro. I'm not going to do it again. I'll spell it out. RESPECT. Some of the most powerful people I've ever met didn't say much. But when they did, I listened. When they did, you listened. And this episode, I'm focused on presence and leading more with presence and not necessarily performance. I thought back to one of my more relevant examples for me was what it looked like to be respected. And I look back at my time as a drum major. I was a drum major for our high school band. And I don't know why that came to me as an example, but it came, I think, because it's the vision of what respect would look like the energy of respect. I led the band on the field before the halftime performance. I led the band in practices. I spoke over them, and the halftime performance, before the halftime performance, after I did the salute thing, right? And I did the calling them to attention. Band, 10, hut. I still got it. After that, I didn't say a word. I blew the whistle. That started the performance. I directed them with my arms and I conducted. And it was a wonderful play of people moving in their gifts, their talents, and their parts. And the respect for when I did this, it was silent. They didn't have to do it. You say, well, yeah, they did because you're the drum major. No, they didn't. They had a choice. But there was a level of respect. And something about commanding respect also transfers to other people respecting themselves as well. What I'm going to share with you today played into how I was able to have their respect. And in that moment of performance, in that moment of many of the many of the practices where back in those days we were out there all day, nobody cared. We had water, the school was locked down, we sat in the shade and ate our lunch. I mean, it was hot as Hades, and still being able to command respect with only a whistle. Let me share some things that I saw. Honor your word. When you say you're going to do something, then do it. That sticks, especially when they're watching. Be in there with them. I see people breaking their word with themselves, not even the other people, with themselves, and calling it flexibility. Nah, keep your word. It's not small, it's your currency. That's deep. Right? Think about it. Your word is your currency. When you're communicating with a customer, your word is your currency, especially a potential customer. Let's say a potential customer. Your word is your currency. That's what they have. Another one that I saw, be early and be prepared. Showing up early isn't about being overly eager, it's about being in position. They didn't have to wait for me to get up on the scaffold thing. I'm sure it wasn't safe. I don't even remember how I got up there. I just remember it was high. I don't think it was safe though. But I was there. My lunches were cut shorter. I was there early. Sometimes I stayed a little later, but I set the tone. That piece of being respected is I'm not waiting for them to catch. I'm not waiting to catch a vibe. I was wanting to create it because I had an immense amount of pride in what I was doing and pride that I saw in them. And and because of how I'm wired, being early gives us a moment to breathe, to settle in. It shows respect for your time and for theirs. Here's another one. And I'm gonna tell it to you this way. Back to being a drum major. Remember, I'm leading the band on the field. Wherever I go, it's programmed. They know they set their pace off of where I start up. I'm supposed to line up on the 50-yard line. Once, mm-mm-mm. Once I lined the whole band off by 10 yards. Remember, it's on me. Instead of being centered on the 50-yard line, we were centered across one of the 40s on the other side of the 50. I owned it. I owned every bit of it. It's on me. And that's one of those things with respect is you own your missteps with grace. You own being not perfect with grace. Saying that's on me takes courage. And it builds trust faster than deflecting or pretending. Because you know what? I could have said, well, y'all knew we was wrong. Why y'all didn't say something? Oh no, because there was respect and they were willing to go and us do it collectively. And it looked off, but nobody knew it was off because they didn't know. It's some real grown up energy right there. Some real grown up energy when you can be accountable. Accountability is rare and it's also respected. Listen to connect, not respond. So many people listen just so they can jump in with their own take. That was one of the biggest things as I studied to be a coach and breaking that habit of that the corporateness where it was accepted rudeness. Like you jump in. You jump in. The faster I can jump in, the faster I can let you know that my opinion matters. The faster I can let you know. But when you listen to understand, that's different. Practice that this week. Practice listening just to understand. And then ask some questions to make sure you understand. It really, really, really is a quiet superpower. People feel seen when they talk to you when you do this. And when I feel like you see me, when I feel like you hear me, it starts to build a level of respect. And that's the last thing, that's the strong foundational respect right there, because I know that you're not going to disrespect me or downplay what I say. You're not going to interject or superimpose what you think. You're going to listen and make sure that you seek to understand. I respect that. Now, I'm not saying there's always agree, but what I am saying is there's listen and being able to respect. Rise above small talk and gossip. I have no tolerance for gossip. Now, small talk, if it's conversational, if it's in a networking experience, that's different. But small talk and gossip, that's like bottom feeder vibration right there. Like it absolutely drains me. It drains you. It pulls you out of alignment. Let it go. You do not need to entertain low vibration chatter. You don't need to entertain bottom feeder chatter. It is not in your alignment, boo. And not everything needs your energy. Not everything needs your energy. Move different. That's power. You ever hear somebody talk in circles just to sound smart? Speak with clarity, not complexity. Now, this is another one that it takes some practice, because being college educated, what did we get credit for? We got credit for being complex, being super academic, being super smart, being super articulate. But that doesn't really help you gain respect. Sounding smart, let me say that. Sounding smart is not a requirement for respect. When you're creating messages in social media, and even when you're creating messages with your team that you lead, keep it simple. Have clarity is more important than complexity. Say it clear, say it kind, and keep it moving. And one of the rules that I've learned and have looked at is, especially when I'm doing like post or email copy or communicating message conversationally, is nobody wants to hear all the extra stuff anyway. Say it clear, say it kind, keep it moving. And if you're doing copy, one of the things and copy in the business arena is, just that conversation to help present your offer to someone, to let them know the benefits, features, things like that. You want to think about a seventh grade understanding level. Not to say that the person doesn't have the level of intelligence beyond the seventh grader, but you want to, it's like fifth to seventh grade, but the clarity, you want it to be clear but not complex. And the other thing that I have learned, you gotta write this down. You gotta write this down. Like, clarity is kindness. When you are clear, you are being kind. And people respect those who get to the point without, listen to this, without cutting other people down. You don't have to get to the point and trample all over people getting to the point. People respect those who can get to the point without cutting other people down. Another area of respect and gaining respect and being one that is respected, especially for an introvert achiever that's navigating leadership and business ownership. Offer thoughtful solutions. It's so easy to point out problems, to be a pointer, right? It's so easy to be a pointer. It's deeper to bring real insight to the table. And sometimes going back to being loud, your solutions don't have to be loud. But when you offer something to someone and it's useful, people remember that you brought value. So think about that in your languaging, your communications, and your interactions is bringing something useful, something that is valuable and not just volume, not just loud, but it's real value. There's value in the whispers. Another one for you to help you to have habits that command respect. Shine a light on others. Give other folks their flowers. Our leadership is about lifting others up. Even when nobody sees you doing it. Well, how can you do that, Stephanie? All kinds of ways. You can drop something in somebody's box. You can stop by a person's desk and say, you know what, I saw you, good job. And you can respect up, right? You can respect up. You can go up and let someone know that I see you. That's good. That was good. Give people flowers. Celebrate their wins. There's something about that energy that it circles back and it's a I'm secure in who I am. And in that security in who I am, I can lift you up. I can shine a light on who you are and what you do. And it embodies respect for self and respect for others. And people will have more respect for you. And then the last one that I want to share with you when it comes to habits that lean into respect, staying grounded. Staying grounded under pressure. I don't know whether or not you're aware, but things are kind of chaotic. Yes or yes. Chaos can be swirling, but you're centered. You breathe. You move from stillness. You move from calm. You're grounded. And one of the verses that's often quoted from the Bible is peace be still. And peace be still isn't and that's what that makes me think about staying grounded under pressure. And here's why. Because I think about peace be still, the one thought is that, oh, everything is gonna, just everything is it's peace like a river, right? Peace like a river. Um, you think about a river though, it ain't still. A river's flowing, but it's flowing in alignment with where it's going. It's commanding respect by the space that it's taking up. So peace be still, the peace like a river. That's you. You're grounded under pressure. You move from stillness. That calm presence. Like you bring that calm presence. When you have that, you bring that calm presence with you when you walk in the room. And you may not know it, but it shifts the atmosphere. That's your superpower. You don't always have to react. Matter of fact, you don't react. You get to respond. I had a situation where one of my senior leaders just had a temper tantrum. I was responsible for leading this corporate expansion of the operating systems, and there were some things that we had to do, and he didn't want to do them. He was giving me all the reasons why he could not do them. As a matter of fact, he was one of the leaders in the plant. Had an absolute temper tantrum. I cannot even explain to you what it looks like to have a leader have a temper tantrum, but this was it. And I was just calm. I did not react. Now, I think it must have been God's work at holding my tongue. Okay. I gotta put some credit there. But I wasn't even in that space. I let him do the thing. And I'm not gonna give you the details, but it was a hot mess. I didn't react. I got a chance to respond. I gained his respect from that point. I had no more issues. He didn't always agree with what I was saying. He would still have his way of wanting to get things done. He'd have his way of having an opinion based on what the position was that we were supposed to do. But he never argued with me to the point of being disrespectful again. I gained his respect. As a matter of fact, he wrote me a letter of recommendation when I left the company. That's what I'm talking about when I talk about respect. It's not something you shout for, it's something you embody like habit by habit. And you don't have to be loud to take up space. Your presence is the statement. I see you. I honor your quiet impact. I am rooting for you. Every powerful, grounded, bold step of the way. Be respected. I celebrate you and the respect that you are stepping into as you look at applying some of these to help you be at more of a position of being someone who is respected. I would love to hear which of these really resonated with you, that you really leaned into, and it made you put a star on your notes, or a star mentally. Would love to hear that. And if you want to have more of a connection as we look at more business concepts, more leadership concepts, I invite you to come and hang out in the Introvert Achievers Network. That is my membership community. That is where I'm pouring in more aspects of what we're doing here as we build, as we grow, and as we step into positions of being more in alignment and offering the world more of what we do, so that we can shine our light. Yeah. Check out the website, stephanieoden.com, and you can learn more about the Introvert Achievers Network. I honor the impact that you're making, and I am rooting for you. Every powerful, bold step that you take, every bit of it, I'm rooting for you. That's it for this episode of the Quiet Impact Podcast. Thank you for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure. Let me know any insights that you had from this episode. I would love to hear your takeaways. Remember to head to my website, grab a copy of the Success Pillars for Quiet Achievers. It's a resource I created for you. And join us next week. Thank you for watching, listening, and subscribing. See you next time.